morning, my name's David Ridgway and this is Kirklees Local TV's Weekly Wind-Up. This is a weekly digest of all the news across the borough, and we intend to be interesting, informative, amusing and provocative. But we do want to hear from you. Kirklees Local TV can be contacted on email at info@kirkleeslocaltv.com or on Twitter at KirkleesLocalTV. Our number of watchers continues to rise each week. I've looked at the graphs and they are really quite spectacular. But we do need feedback from you. My special guest this week is Councillor, that sounds good, Councillor Christine Iredale. Welcome, Christine. Good to see you here. David. And congratulations on your result. Briefly, tell us why there was a by-election in Gokha.
Well, Councillor Paul Salverson decided to resign, and so that left the seat empty, so I stood and I won.
Yes, okay.
Councillor Salverson defeated me in 2012, so the victory was very sweet.
By how many votes did he beat you?
148.
Right, and how many did you beat him by?
690.
That sounds like a massive change.
Down to my dual personality.
Excellent. Now tell me, you say that Paul Salverson decided to resign. What were the reasons for that?
I have no idea.
Okay. Right. Do you think that he was just it just didn't catch his interest? Because I know he's a busy guy.
I think his businesses were he couldn't do two jobs properly, so he decided that he would be resign.
So you've been out of politics for 18 months-ish.
Yes.
Yes. What have you been doing? Sitting at home with your feet up, eating chocolates?
Well, you might think so, but
no, I couldn't possibly comment.
I do Meals on Wheels with the Gokha Girls,
right,
which was set up by the Hairy Bikers. Obviously, I look after the grandchildren and sometimes the great-grandchildren. I keep myself active. I look after my dad to a degree, or we go out and have lunch and things like that. No, I've kept myself quite busy within the community because that's my interest.
And can you put any specific reason down to why there was such a massive change? Because this is really a massive change. I gather the significance of this result has had repercussions even as far as London.
Yes, I actually did get a phone call from Nick Clegg, no less.
Now, I've heard of him.
I have. He's the Deputy Prime Minister.
What did he say?
He just asked how we'd done it, and I told him, and he was really, really very nice. He asked me to pass his congratulations on to the entire team, and he really was very, very nice. It was really nice to hear from him.
How long did you talk for?
About 7 or 8 minutes.
Crikey. So, what's caused this big change? I mean, was there a specific campaign?
Yes, we campaigned on local issues that really matter to people.
Like what?
Well, there are planning issues that are coming up. We want a bridge over Milnes Bridge.
Well, we've been wanting a bridge over Milnes Bridge for as long as I can remember.
Yeah, well,
in fact, it's half built.
Well, it might be, but we've had a petition, and it seems to be that the people of Milnes Bridge and Gokha want a bridge. So Andrew and I are going to try and get one.
Andrew?
My colleague, Councillor Andrew Marchant.
Okay. But I've read somewhere that Councillor Hilary Richards is campaigning for a bridge.
Well, that's even better. If all three councillors are campaigning, then it might even happen. You never know.
Okay, fine. If you have a bridge, I mean, this is very local, I realise, but if you have a bridge another bridge over the River Colne at Milnes Bridge, where will the roads come from and go to?
That would have to be agreed and discussed with highways at this stage in the proceedings. All we know is that it would help with our huge congestion problem.
Right, okay. And what's caused the congestion?
Well, too much traffic.
Okay, and the traffic is presumably trying to get up to the motorway?
Yes, I mean...
and avoiding the ring road in Huddersfield?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We have similar problems in Linthwaite, and in Slathwaite, and indeed in Marsden.
I know when the bridge was closed for repair last year, Wellhouse was absolutely horrendously hit.
It was really, really bad, yeah. It was really bad, but there we are. Okay, so you're campaigning for a new bridge. Do you think you'll get it?
Well, pardon me, I hope we shall have a very good go anyway, I hope so.
So, you've been out of politics for 18 months, Christine. You're now back.
I am.
And what are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to go onto the licensing committee.
Are you really?
I am.
That's interesting. That's a very provocative remark, if I might be bold enough to say.
Indeed.
But there we are. Whose place are you going to take?
Well, I don't know. I'll have to negotiate with the two who are there.
Yes, okay. Right, so you want to get back into the committees. What about the local development framework and all that sort of stuff? Do you think you'll be able to make a difference there?
Well, I shall certainly put my input in, but whether that will make a difference, it remains to be seen.
Sounds a really exciting time.
But I'm not happy with the planners wanting to build on pole sites when we've got
What's a pole site?
A public open land.
Right, and why don't you want them to build on those? Because they are building land.
No, I think we've got enough brownfield sites.
What's a brownfield site?
A brownfield site is what we can build on.
And what's the difference between the two?
Well, a public open land is really for green spaces.
Right, and when you call it a brownfield site, where have those sites come from?
Well, they've got houses on already, that and it's land that can be used for factories and things like that.
Right. Do you think we need to allocate more land for industrial use?
It would depend. Obviously, we need to get more commercial, but we really do need to keep our public open spaces.
Because predominantly all the old mills in the Millsbridge, Gokar area, indeed in the Huddersfield area, have either been knocked down or are closed. The ones that still remain open are extremely busy, I know that. But those that have been knocked down, they've left a lot of derelict land. Is that capable of being developed?
I would think possibly, but a lot of it has been made into flats.
Well, if you develop them into flats, and you develop the land which has been demolished, or where the buildings have been demolished, does that just not create more and more traffic?
Well, obviously it does. But
well, how can you cope with the traffic?
It's a difficult situation, but obviously it has to be taken into consideration. We do need some solutions.
It really would be good, wouldn't it, for the developers to actually assist the council into building better road networks, better transportation facilities and so on.
That would be hugely helpful.
Yeah, okay. Good. This is Kirklees Local TV's weekly wind-up. You are conversing here today with, I am conversing here today with Councillor Christine Iredale, who's just won the by-election in Gokar, and indeed won it really handsomely. But we're not going to spend the whole time just talking about that. We want to hear your views. You can contact Kirklees Local TV on info@kirkleeslocaltv.com and on Twitter @KirkleesLocalTV. And welcome back. I'm David Ridgway. This is Kirklees Local TV weekly wind-up. I'm talking today with Councillor Christine Iredale, who's just won the local by-election in Gokar, and we are now going to talk about Christmas. Are you ready for Christmas, Christine?
Not really, no, David.
Not given much of a thought to it, I guess.
I've been rather busy with by-elections, but I feel certain that my grandchildren will remind me on a regular basis.
Well, I'm glad you've mentioned your grandchildren, because I want to talk to you about the commerciality of Christmas. Did you read that the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, has classed Christmas that it has become absurd and ridiculous? Do you agree with that?
It's very commercialised. It's far too commercialised.
Do you think the time's come when we should try to sort of roll it back for it to become a religious ceremony rather than a commercial entity?
I think it should be less commercial, and certainly it is a religious time. It's the birth of our Lord.
What about the commerciality of it? When does Christmas actually begin for you?
Well, the first time I saw a Christmas card in Huddersfield was August the 4th, which I feel is a touch early.
Yes, indeed. Okay. When do you think it ought to start?
The beginning of December would be fine.
Right, okay. And you know that the council invariably offers free parking to shoppers in Huddersfield and in Dewsbury, in the major town centres, for Christmas. Is that a good idea?
I think if it encourages people to come into the Huddersfield shopping centres, yes, it's a very good idea.
Why can't we do it all the year round then?
I don't know. We better ask the Labour-controlled council about that.
Well, I've been wondering for a long time whether the income taken from car parking is actually just useful from the council's point of view, and if it might be an idea to get the shopkeepers to support the idea of free car parking by paying a part of their profitability, their increased profitability, in business rates or some form of local taxation, so that the actual burden of the car parking is put into the shopkeepers rather than the car owners. Do you think there's any benefit in that sort of an idea?
Well, it's certainly worth discussion, isn't it? I mean, anything, as I said before, anything that brings the people into shopping to Huddersfield has to be thought of.
And how about beefing up the public transport?
That would be an excellent idea, although where I live, the public transport is pretty good. But if you live in a rural area, then the transport
like
is...
where I live?
Like where you live. But, you know, yes, in some areas the transport is appalling.
Okay. So, how soon will you be ready for Christmas?
Probably on the 24th of December.
Okay.
Pardon me. It's very lucky, really, because the grandchildren are very easily pleased. We give them money.
And make them pay for their Christmas dinner?
Well, no, I actually do occasionally cook that.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. We'll move on now to another big story which hit the news this week, and I'd like your comments as to how this affects people here locally in Kirklees. The Royal Bank of Scotland has hit the news again on the basis that it's being accused of foreclosing loans on its small businesses so that they can then take over those businesses and sell off the assets cheaply. What benefit is this?
Well, there doesn't seem to be much benefit to anyone other than the Royal Bank of Scotland.
Have you heard whether this has had any effect on businesses locally?
I haven't heard anything yet, but I feel certain in the next few days it will become more apparent.
I expect you're probably right. I think that's another story which is going to run and run. But of course, it's not the only bank that's been in the news.
I understand the Co-op has been in the news a little bit of late.
The People's Bank.
Yes.
And the People's Bank has not been banking very much for the people.
No, it certainly hasn't, from what I've heard on the news.
And what have you heard on the news, Christine?
I believe that they're lending money to the Labour Party.
Oh,
very
outrageous.
Small interest fee. But yes, they're not really working for the people.
Well, to be fair to the Co-op Bank, I have a Co-op Bank Visa card, and a proportion of everything I spend on my Visa card goes to my political party. So they do swap and change it around. So
well, I haven't got a Visa.
You haven't got a political
I haven't got a
party?
Visa card. So well, not a Co-op one anyhow.
No.
So I don't. I have a card from another bank.
So how has the Co-op Bank got to this unbelievably difficult position that it's in? Do you want to talk about this guy, Mr. Flowers?
Well, I actually don't know Mr. Flowers, but he does seem to have been rather silly from what I've been reading in the paper.
I think the expression is he's been getting around a bit.
Well, he's not done himself a right lot of favours.
I have to say, I don't think politicians around the world have done ourselves much favours anyway, really, because we've got this buffoon in Toronto who's the mayor. I thought the buffoon, the mayor, was in London, but obviously not. Have you seen this guy in Toronto?
I've heard a little bit about him, yes, on television. I think they've stripped him of a lot of his powers, though, haven't they?
Well, yes, because he's a bit odd
Yes.
to say that. How do people like this get elected? I mean, they elected a monkey in Hartlepool, didn't they?
They did,
Not so long
indeed.
ago. Do you think we should have elected mayors?
No,
Why not?
I think that an elected mayor would be wrong. I'm not very good at expressing myself, but I think it would be too much power in one person's hands.
Well, on the basis of that, do you think there's too much power put into the leader and cabinet system that we have?
No, because that is not voted in, so it can be changed if a majority of people in the council
fine.
say so.
I take it you don't bank with the co-op?
No, I don't bank with the co-op.
Would you be encouraged to join the co-op at this stage?
No.
Do you think it's right that the cooperative movement should stop paying out its divvy in order to bail out the bank?
No, because other ordinary people are having to pay.
I actually think that that's an outrageous decision to take,
I think
because
it is.
the cooperative bank has been separate from the cooperative movement for quite some time, so far as I'm led to understand. And for the dividend now to be withdrawn from people is really, I would have thought, almost a contractual matter, and it's really very poor decision making.
I mean, my grandma used to get divvy from the co-op, and we're going back a long number of years.
That was before Green Shield stamps.
It was indeed, just.
Did you collect Green Shield stamps?
No, I didn't, no.
I have.
I used to get cigarette packets.
You did? Oh, that's outrageous. I hope you don't smoke anymore. Right, we're going to take a break now. Thank you very much, Christine. My name's David Ridgway. This is Kirklees Local TV's weekly wind-up. Kirklees Local TV can always be contacted on email at info@kirkleeslocaltv.com and on Twitter at KirkleesLocalTV. See you after the break. And welcome back. My name's David Ridgway. This is Kirklees Local TV's weekly wind-up. Kirklees Local TV can always be contacted by email on info@kirkleeslocaltv.com and on Twitter at KirkleesLocalTV. My special guest this week is Councillor Christine Iredale, and we've just been talking about power being concentrated in specific people. What do you think about police commissioners?
I do not think it was a very good idea to start with, and I think, it should be disbanded.
Now, you and I have known each other for a long time, and I can't remember where this idea came from. I gather it's pretty American, but nevertheless.
I believe it was a Labour party.
But the Labour Party is now telling us that they want to go back to police committees. What's that all about?
Well, the Labour Party can never make up its mind, can it?
Fair comment. Now, I saw in the news this week that there are 2 buildings in Dewsbury Churchyard which are in such a bad state of repair that the roofs are falling in. We've got a lot of historic buildings across the borough, Christine. What should the borough do with them? We've got no money. Should we actually take the pragmatic approach and actually demolish these buildings?
We're in a sad state of affairs where the finances are really, really stretched, and the history, unfortunately, we will have to demolish them. I cannot see any other alternative. We just do not have the money to restore them at this time.
Do you feel that some of these big buildings in town centres should be converted into flats, living accommodation?
Yes, I think living in the town centre would not be a bad thing.
Good. Right, and I want to talk very briefly about winter gritting. You say you're not ready for Christmas yet, but you will be on the 24th of December. Are you ready for your winter? And have you got your grit bins filled?
Well, we are going to ask the highways officers to grit the roads to our local schools.
Right.
And we will certainly make sure that the grit bins are filled. But we do have grit bin theft, you know. We have the highways officers come and fill our grit bin, and then we have people come and take the grit away, and we don't then have any grit.
I understand you are a member of a quiz league.
I am. I play for the Colne Valley Quiz League for Millsbridge Liberal Club.
Are you in charge of it?
But of course.
That's a bit disturbing, isn't it? Okay. And lastly, did you see the photograph of the puppy that looks like Adolf Hitler?
No, I didn't. You'll have to show me that one day.
Well, yes, I haven't got a picture here today, unfortunately. Right, Christine, thank you very much for being with me today. It's been an absolute delight having you on the show. Will you please get in touch with us about the comments we've been making today about parking in Kirklees? Is it right that Kirklees should just make free parking over the Christmas period, or is there a discussion to be had about reducing the cost of parking in the town centres? Will you please get in touch with us with regard to the difficulties that the Co-op Bank is now in? How did it get there? What should we do to resolve it? Is it right that the cooperative movement's dividend, the cooperative shop's dividend, should be used to bail out the bank? Will it be enough? And do you agree that our historic buildings across the borough, if they're in a poor state of repair, should be demolished in order to make the place safe? And those that are in a good state of repair in the town centres, should they be converted into living apartments? Please get in touch, let us know what you want to know. You can always contact Kirklees Local TV by email at info@kirkleeslocaltv.com and on Twitter @KirkleesLocalTV. Thanks for watching. See you next week.